Same company, same soul, but a new generation. The Fujifilm X30, a compact classic with surprising power. But how good is it really after a decade later? Let's find out. I've spent a lot of time with the X10, but now it's time to give its successor, the X30, a real chance. The Fujifilm X30 was released in 2014 and it followed the beloved X10 and X20, but replaced the optical viewfinder with a digital one. And some enthusiasts didn't like that upgrade, but in return Fuji delivered a much more modern body and upgraded the software and sensors. Let's look at the specs, not to get lost in numbers, but to see where this little camera stands. 12 megapixel 2/3 X transcendence 2 sensor, EXR processor 2, 28 to 112mm f2.0 to 2.8 zoom lens, a 2.36 m dot electronic viewfinder, a tilting 3-inch LCD screen, RAW plus JPEG shooting, 1080p video at 60 frames per second and built-in Wi-Fi. Oh, am I making you? In the hand it feels premium, old school but fast. It feels like a Fujifilm. On the front there's the fixed 28 to 112mm equivalent zoom lens with a bright f2 to 2.8 aperture. And powering the camera on is as simple as twisting the ring from off to your chosen focal length. Below is the focus mode selector, single AF, continuous AF and manual focus. Above the lens a pop-up flash and next to it a sync port for external flash. On top, the shutter speed dial, one of Fujifilm's signature touches, and next to it the exposure compensation dial for quick brightness control. And here's the EVF sharp and detailed with 2.36 million dots. Next to them the drive button, single shot, burst, bracketing, filters and more. And far left we got the view mode button. On the right we got Fujifilm's classic control dial with 4-way buttons for macro, flash, dry modes and white balance. And center we got the menu, OK button, and below the display back button and the Q button for Fujifilm's quick menu. The back is dominated by a 3-inch tilting LCD, great for high and low angles with over 900,000 dots for crisp view. On the side, the X30 gives us micro HDMI port for external display, a micro USB for file transfer, and a combined 3.5mm input for either an external microphone or a remote shutter release. Compact but surprisingly versatile for a 2014 camera. Many people were pleasantly surprised that the X30 actually had a microphone input. It was quite unusual for at that time. If you're enjoying this so far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and it lets me keep making videos like this. These first images are straight out of the camera's JPEGs. They have that slightly grainy, classic retro look that you often get from a 12 megapixel sensor. At first they can appear a bit flat and lacking in depth, but once you start playing with contrast and bring out the texture in the sky, the whole image transforms. But when you use the raw files, the story changes completely. Suddenly there's more depth, more dynamic range and a richness in tone that JPEGs can't quite capture. You start to see detail in both the shadows and the highlights, and it's here that the X30 truly shows what it's capable of. Yeah! here we are, more than 10 years after its release. The Fujifilm X30 is still fast, still compact and still a joy to use. Technically, it's an improvement over the X10 in almost every way. Better speed, better screen, better viewfinder. And shooting RAW really unlocks what this little camera can do, with colors, shadows and skies that feel alive in a way that JPEGs sometimes can't. But there's something about the images from the X10 that the X30 just can't quite match. Maybe it's the character, maybe it's the imperfection. The X30 feels more modern, maybe it's just too modern for me. Still, the X30 is a forgotten gem, and if you find one today, it's definitely worth shooting with. Thanks for watching.